Hi, guys. Happy Tuesday. All right, I'm going to get in here and get out. I wanted to hop on here to do a live about a recent event I saw about an attorney, Beatrice Bijoux, who was charged with four counts of attempted murder. And I wanted to talk to you about this because the issue of her having some mental health issues came up. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you look back in our TXT Gets Personal playlist, we try to feature something in the month of May to focus on mental health and how real it is. And so what better way than to show you about how an attorney has experienced, nobody's exempt from it, no profession is exempt from it. Mental health mental health disabilities affects a lot of people, right? So what I'm going to do is react to a video I saw of an interrogation between some police officers and the attorney after she was arrested for mowing down some people in the fresh market parking lot, and how she admitted to doing it and what the police officers did following her arrest as far as interrogation, what she said while she was interrogated, and kind of like give it a different perspective on it. I know people have their own opinions about what happened. And of course, we weren't there, but from the perspective of an attorney, seeing another attorney who was a newly admitted attorney, I think she got admitted in 2016, going through this issue and seeing how she dealt with it, right? If you're new to this channel, we do all kind of videos. We have something for everybody. Check out our playlist. Hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube sends it out to the greater YouTube community. It helps the algorithm. Comment below if you are comment in the chat section if you are one of our TXC crew, or if you're just watching, check in with us. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the actual video. I'm going to play a little clip from the video, and then we're going to talk about, kind of break down each part of it. The video is quite long, so if you want to head over to it, I credited the actual YouTuber in the description box if you want to head over to yourself. But I'm going to play a little clip from it and get into kind of who is Beatrice Bijoux, what happened, mental health, what's bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, all the things that she was charged with. But let me play the little clip so that you guys can see what I'm talking about if you haven't already seen the video. And it's going to be a short clip because it's actually a pretty lengthy video, but I'll play the beginning of it. So let's see if I can share my screen with you so you can see. And I got it queued up.
How far did you go in school?
I'm an attorney.
You're an attorney?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been hearing voices telling me to kill myself and to kill other people.
When did that start?
I have a gun at my parents' house right now. I got diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia.
Okay. When was that?
2019.
Okay.
And it ruined my life. What are my charges?
Probably 4 counts of aggravated battery and another count of aggravated assault.
I attempted to murder that woman.
Well, conferred with the state attorney, and they don't want to charge attempted murder right now. But if you're adamant, you can always explain that to your defense attorney, but I'm sure they're going to.
No, I want the attempted murder charge.
You want the attempted murder?
Yeah.
Well,
because I tried to kill her, and I would like to walk out of here right now.
the two don't go hand in hand, okay?
What?
You can't try to kill people and then just walk free. We fed you lunch.
I can try and kill you.
That's not going to go well.
Yes.
That went left.
It will go well.
Sit down.
No, I'm not
Sit
going
down.
to sit down.
I'm not playing
going to
games.
sit down. I'm not playing
Have a
games
seat.
either.
Okay. Just hit the ground running, right? I'll play a little other clip of it, but that's how the video started. It was clips of that. She was using her vehicle to run down 4 people. One of them was critically injured, had to go to the hospital. 3 other people were sort of injured. And this is what she's saying. She's an attorney. She said she wants them to charge her with a higher a higher charge than what they charge her with. She even threatened to get at the police officer when he told her to sit down. Now, if you watch the length of the video, he actually is pretty patient with her during the interrogation phase. Although I'm kind of on the fence about whether he should have continued with the interrogation, because she looked like she was going through a psychotic break while she was in interrogation. And she did ask for an attorney at some point during the interrogation. And she said no, because he left the room. And she kind of got like, no, come back. I want to still talk to you. So I was kind of on the fence about whether it was appropriate for him to continue with the interrogation after she asked for an attorney. She also asked for her doctor. She said she was being treated by a psychiatrist. She asked for a doctor. They said they would try to see it. And She admitted that she had taken her medication that morning, but prior to that, she hadn't taken her medication for, a while before that. So it was obvious that she was in despair. She said her brother had taken the gun away from her because she was threatening to kill herself. So her family was aware that she was kind of in this kind of state of despair. So they were trying to help her protect herself from herself. But kind of let's get right into who she is, right? Because you see a small snippet of her, but I kind of went back like, well, who is Beatrice Bijoux? Like, she's an attorney. How did we get to this point? And the incident happened on February 22nd, 2022. That's when it happened. This is when she was being interrogated. But who is this person? So I'll share the screen with you. I pulled up her LinkedIn to kind of figure out who she was, and she had some social media accounts. If you watch the whole video, she actually says, can I have my phone? Because I need to delete my social media accounts. She's actually very active on social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that. So she's very aware of her social media presence and how this probably could affect it. But I was like, well, who is she? So let's bring up her LinkedIn first. And it says she's the managing partner and attorney at law at Bijoux Law Firm. She actually is no longer a licensed attorney because, as I'll show you later, she was actually disbarred. It was an emergency hearing and they disbarred her so that she couldn't actually practice anymore. But she went to Nova Southeastern University Shepherd Broad Law Center. She has over 6,000 followers. She's had her law firm since 2017, and I think she graduated from law school in 2016. So she hit the ground running and had her own law firm. She was a personal injury attorney. You see her billboards out here. She was very popular personal injury attorney in the Florida area. And she was arrested in, I forget the area, but it was close to like Fort Lauderdale, I believe, area. And so this is what was happening. This is how she looked. But the interesting part of it, I think, not to criticize her appearance, but how she looked in the video and how she's looking on like a lot of her social media platforms are night and day. And I don't know if it has to do with her mental health state, or it had to do with like doctoring of her photos, because it was like, this is not the same person. But that basically from her LinkedIn shows that she was pretty accomplished attorney, right? And that just shows you that mental health can affect anybody. It does not mean, just because you're a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, you can't have mental health issues. She obviously was having a psychotic break when she was threatening, like she was doing things that were definitely out of character for an attorney, knowing what to do when you're in a police interrogation room. So, hey, Dr. Seb, thanks for checking in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if crazy is the politically correct thing to say, but she definitely has mental health issues, and it's real. And I think that's what contributed to the police officer having some kind of empathy when he was interviewing her. You can tell, like, she had just done something horrific, right? But in the interview, he was very patient with her, like talking to her, being calm, talking to her almost like in a fatherly way. It was interesting because, like, you just almost killed 4 people. Like, she was asking for the charges to be upgraded, like, and he was very calm and talking to her. So I pulled up her Instagram because I'm like, what is she so like afraid of for social media? So she has an Instagram account that has like her personal Instagram page, attorney Beatrice Bijoux. That looks nothing like the lady who was on that video. She's of Haitian descent, and she was engaged. I don't know if she's still engaged now. But this is who supposedly she looks like. I don't think that's really how she looks. I wonder if I can do a side by side, because let's see here. Let me stop sharing and I'll show you another picture of her, how she looks afterwards, because it's just like, that's not the same person. Y'all done got the wrong person, but it really is the same person. Of course, nobody looks like the same in their mugshot, right? But she looks like this is not even the same person, like even her skin color and just her facial features. So I was just like, okay, this is weird. This is an article from the New York Post saying that she was a personal injury attorney. She got disbarred after mowing down 4 people. And I wanted to bring it up because, not to disparage her or anything, but to bring it up to show, like, this is a situation where somebody who is in a psychotic break and had people who were supposedly, there for her, but she still ended up hurting people. And although she hurt people, I think she became a sympathetic suspect because she was also clearly not in her right state of mind. I know that mental health is not something that, especially in the Black communities, people like to talk about. She did admit that she was getting some treatment from a psychiatrist, but she wasn't keeping up to date with her medications. And I think I read somewhere else that maybe her boyfriend or fiance encouraged her to try to see if she can sustain without it. She mentioned in the video that she was diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia in 2019, and she said it ruined her life, right? And I can kind of sympathize with her that, you know, something like that, something so dramatic could alter your life forever, to the point now that I don't know, I guess she's still locked up. I don't know if she's in a mental facility or in general population in the jail, but it's obviously she needs some mental health treatment. So let's see. Yes, mental health is why I'm taking a break from creating in my mind, and I'm dealing with life. Yes. So that's why I'm glad you came on, Dr. Steph, because we want to talk about mental health and why it's important and to get help. Mental health, it can vary. Like you can have anxiety, right? That's something that you may keep under control. You can have something that actually needs to be controlled by medication, which will be prescribed by a psychiatrist, or you may just need to go to a therapist or a psychologist to see. And I just want to give you an idea of what she says. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So I'll tell you what bipolar disorder is according to the Mayo Clinic, so that I won't pretend like I'm a doctor, because I'm not. Bipolar disorder, formerly called manic depression, is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings that include emotional highs, mania or hypomania, and lows, depression. When you become depressed, you may feel sad or hopeless and lose interest and pleasure in most activities. When your mood shifts to mania or hypomania, less extreme than mania, you may feel euphoric, full of energy, or unusually irritable. These mood swings can affect sleep, energy, activity, judgment, behavior, and the ability to think clearly. Right? So she clearly was not thinking in her right mind. She said that she wanted to kill herself while she was in the interrogation at some point. It was sad. I'm going to try to see if I can bring up that little clip, because it is a pretty long video, but I want to try to see if I can bring up that little clip so you can see that the whole video, she was not in her right state of mind, and she could tell that she didn't want to be alone. At some point she said, "Don't leave me in the room. I feel claustrophobic," right? Because they were in the interview room. You know, it's usually cold in an interview room. They said she didn't want to be left alone with her thoughts. When he was asking her questions, she would stop, almost like she was listening to voices. And she said she had voices in her head that told her to kill these people, right? So she said she finally listened to the voice. She's been told by these people, these voices in her head before, that she should kill people. So on February 22nd, 2022, she decided to go ahead with it. So let me see if I'm going to play a little bit more, if I could get to the part that I was talking about. Let's see.
All right.
No.
I don't want to hurt you.
I'm going to kill as many people as I can.
That's not going to happen. Okay? Listen, Beatrice, please sit down. We're being very nice to you. We're being very nice to you.
Tell you
No
what,
one wants to hurt you.
if we charge you with the attempted murder, would you sit down?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Then sit down.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
take care of it. We'll change your charge.
She
Can I have
asked for
my
a high
phone so I can
charge.
delete my social media?
Let's see.
Today's date is.
Why aren't you the landlord?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's an ad. Okay. So basically she talks about how she wanted to have an attorney at first, and then she said, okay, I want to be charged with certain things. And then I was wondering, like, did she go back and forth between having some sane mind and insane mind? Because sometimes it's like, okay, why would you want to get upcharged? Because you know they couldn't perhaps meet the requirements. She was well enough to know that, to tell them that she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. And usually those could be defenses to a certain crime, right? If you had a mental break, you may use insanity as a defense to it, right? You can still be charged with it, but your defense to it, meaning like, oh, I won't go to jail, I just go to a mental facility, would be the defense to it. And she did admit in the past that she had been institutionalized, and they let her out. And she said, I think at least 4 times she was institutionalized. And so they let her out. And then this is what happened. One day she woke up. And even on her social media, as early as, let me see if I can share with you, as early as like February, the beginning of February, she was like toting on her just getting engaged, right? she was like, finally got engaged. I can't log in right now. Finally got engaged. And then bam, you went from being engaged at the beginning of February to February 22nd, 2022, running people down. So it took a quite turn of events. Like all her pictures on here looks nothing like the other picture I just showed you, right? She's definitely aware of how she presents herself. And I think when I was reading before about bipolar disorder, it can be a little bit of genetics, your environment, stress can impact it. And social media can get you every time, right? Like being aware about like maintaining a certain profile, a certain image on social media and keeping up with all that. She was so worried about, she was about to get charged with attempted murder. She was worried about deleting her social media accounts, right? It was that real for her. So I think it was interesting that that was her main concern. I know I shared this before, but if you watch the other videos in the month of May, we shared resources. We don't want to just talk about stuff. We want to give you resources. BetterHelp is you can talk with a licensed professional therapist online. We want to always like talk about things and then give you some resources. That's for therapists. If you need something stronger, like you need stronger drink. But if you need something stronger, psychiatrist be the one that be able to prescribe you medication if you have anxiety or any kind of hormonal imbalance like she was suffering. I don't think you're going to get it from BetterHelp, but they at least have situations where you can at least get help. And I think I always say don't just use it when you're in a crisis, right? Go to a therapist even when nothing's going wrong, right? So that way you can kind of gauge if something's going wrong, you have the tools to be able to help you get through when a crisis comes along. So just keep that in mind. Dr. Sev says, and COVID-19 as isolating tendencies doesn't help with. I agree. And I think that COVID just the environment, our response to COVID has caused people to have some mental health breaks because they're like not used to, especially they were used to being around people, then all of a sudden being isolated from people can really do that to you. So I don't know if that impacted her because she said she was diagnosed in 2019. So this is pre-COVID or before we knew what COVID was, right? And I don't know what happened that caused it, her just to fly off the handle on February 22nd, 2022. But something happened, right? And it's kind of sad because you work so hard, right? She went to law school, which is hard. She passed the bar, which is hard. She started her own law firm, which is hard. She seemed successfully commercially, right? And then to have something like this happen and then it all go out the window, right? Your mental health affects you in a way that you are jeopardizing your whole livelihood. And perhaps, I don't know, at some point the officer asked her, does she want to speak to her boyfriend? She says yes. And then she goes, no, I don't want to speak to him. So I don't know if she was embarrassed or it was just the voice in her head. I think from a legal perspective, I was surprised the interrogation went on that long because it was clear she needed somebody other than him, right? She asked for a lawyer, that she withdrew her request for a lawyer. Then she asked for a doctor, and he goes, I'm not a lawyer, but I think you're only required at a Miranda for you're entitled to a lawyer, not a doctor. But in situations like this where he clearly sees that she's not in her right mind, maybe a doctor would have been helpful to be able to help get her back like leveled out because she's kind of nervous. They had her handcuffed in front of her. And then when she says, I'm going to kill one of y'all, and he said, that's not going to end well. They's like, you messed up. They had to handcuff her behind her back because they like, you threatened us. They handcuffed her on her ankles so she couldn't move. So then that kind of like set her off again, right? Because she feels restricted. She already said that she felt claustrophobic in the room. Then what do? They restrict her arms and her legs so she can't get up and move around. They left the door open because they didn't want her to feel too crazy, like, okay, the walls are closing in on me, but it definitely was bad. Let me see if I can cue up the other part where she kind of goes into it. She kind of like says she wants to talk, then does it. And the officer was very patient. You can tell maybe he's dealt with this before. And this is just like almost an example of like, okay, maybe he should not have proceeded with the interrogation as far as like trying to get information from her because it probably could be excluded at trial. But just how he treated somebody who was going through a mental health crisis versus who was still a suspect, who had admitted to running people down, right? It wasn't like she was not saying that she was innocent. He still treated her with respect. And I respected that about him, that, he didn't treat her like garbage. So let's see here. Let me see if I can play it.
Yes,
Let me
you.
skip this.
Why aren't
commercial.
you the landlord?
All right,
Every
let's see.
I'd like to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand what I wrote to you?
Yes.
Okay. You go ahead and just sign right there.
This is her signing away her right to speak to a lawyer, and to say that she wants to speak to him without having her lawyer present, right? So she signs it.
All right. So I've been told a little bit about what's going on, but I got some basic questions before we get into what happened. Have you had anything to eat today?
He was concerned about her.
I ate an apple.
Okay, you had an apple earlier. What time was that?
She pauses a lot while she's going through the interrogation, almost like she's waiting for the voices to tell her what to say. And he's being very patient with her as he waits for her to
I
respond.
got diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia.
Okay. When was that diagnosis?
2019,
Okay.
and it ruined my life.
Okay.
I've been in and out of mental institutions.
Mhm.
I think this is the last year was the fourth one, and they locked me up for an extended period of time.
Do you have a physician you see on a regular basis? And who's that?
Akinyemi and he's Nigerian. I know he's Nigerian. He's Nigerian. Akinyemi, Dr. Akinyemi.
And where does he practice?
He practices in Stuart.
Okay. Is he a psychologist or
He's a psychiatrist.
psychiatrist? And how long have you been seeing him?
I've been seeing him for
Okay, so she seems mildly calm for somebody who just ran over 4 people, right? And while I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, I don't think jail is the place for her. She obviously did something wrong, and I feel for the victims that she hurt, but it's obviously something's wrong. She seems to have like a mildly, eerily calm attitude as she's going along, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to think about it, but let's see. Let me show you a little bit more of that video.
6 months, I think.
Okay.
No, not 6 months. 4 months.
4 months. Okay. Is he prescribing you any medication?
Yes.
What does he prescribe?
He prescribes me zibrasidone, which is Geodon, and oxycarbazepine, which is trileptal.
That's a mouthful. She got that.
Oxycarbazepine, the trileptal is for the bipolar disorder, and the Geodon zibrasidone is for the schizophrenia.
Okay. How long have you been taking that medication?
She's like breathing, like she seems in distress, but not in the like distress, like calmly distressed.
Right.
See?
For, I want to say 4 months.
Okay. Has it been working for you?
Obviously not. Well, maybe before this day that
No.
she did it.
When was the last time you talked to your doctor?
Like simple questions, it seems like she's like waiting for somebody to tell her the answer.
The last time I talked to my doctor was, I believe, in December.
Okay.
So this is February.
And do you know what the date is today?
Today is February 22nd.
Okay, 100% right. Have you told the doctor you didn't think the medication was working well enough?
To hurt others.
And how long has that been going on?
Since I got diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar,
Okay.
since 2019.
So they've been telling you to hurt others since 2019. Have you ever hurt anybody before?
No.
No, today was the first day?
Today is the first day.
Okay, but they told you.
I feel so bad because it's like, dang, everything kind of went away as a result of this, her being diagnosed. Like everything went out the window. And it's sad that, you usually don't feel sympathy for the accused, especially somebody who's admitted to doing something. But in this case, she's definitely a sympathetic suspect. So, hi, Nicole. She needs a mental facility. Yes, that's apparent that she needs something that, I don't even know why, they handled this interrogation as long as they did. It was obvious, but hopefully she got some help. I agree. She definitely needs some medical personnel to guide her through this. Yeah. People don't understand. And I'm people, right? Because I don't understand everything. I'm not a medical professional. I just know that somebody should be able to help them, right? And in the context of the legal field, like, yes, we have Miranda that says, like, you have your right to ask for an attorney. But in this situation, perhaps her right to ask for her mental health or a mental health professional may have helped guide her through this and told her, like, we try to get you just settled down versus try to figure out whether we should charge her or not. So it's be interesting to see how this plays out, whether she actually gets some mental health help. She says she's already been in the institution 4 times and they locked her away. This might be the time that she gets locked away longer, not because, they let her out what she's done. It's almost like, okay, you actually did something while you were not in your right state of mind. There has to be some kind of justice for the victims, but also be to show that a lot of times when you're charged with something, it proves that you intentionally did something. If you weren't in your right state of mind, could you intentionally have done something as far as being charged with certain offenses that require that mens rea, which is your mental state? Can you be charged with things if you're not in your right mental state of mind? So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Have anybody who's on the chat now, have you seen this video? Have you heard about that? I know she had a lot of followers on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Do you know about her? Do you know, what's your opinion on the matter? Because I can come from my perspective. I don't know the whole story, but it seems like a sad thing for her and also for the victims that she hurt when she mowed them down with her car. So it seems like a bad thing all around. I hope that she gets the mental health treatment that she needs. Let's see. Mental health is nothing to play with. I agree. I have depression, anxiety. Okay. So you can relate, you can empathize with her because you're going through that. And as I said, some people deal with it, they deal with it with medication. Some people just go to therapists. Find whatever works for you. Some people are not always I think she actually said in the video too that she stopped taking medication because her access to healthcare. And that's a whole different thing, right? In America, we don't have access to healthcare, universal healthcare. And some of these medications can be quite expensive, right? And if you don't get them, this is what could happen, right? If you're not able to pay for them, you may end up doing something that harms the greater good, the general population. And so that's where it comes back to universal health care, like deciding whether you should take your medicine or eat for the day. That shouldn't be your choices, right? If you need medication to make sure you stay sane, you should have access to it if needed, right? I know birth control right now is free, right? Birth control is free. Why shouldn't other things that help you, mental health medication, should be free as well? So that's my personal take on it. Anybody else before I close out taking? Yes, I mean, I think she did herself. I don't know her reasoning for it. I think it was mixed reviews, whether her boyfriend told her to stop doing it or because she didn't have access to the health insurance to pay for it. I don't know the reason. But if you are dependent on it, even when you feel good, some people are like, oh, I feel better, I don't need to be on the medication anymore. Sometimes that's a ploy for, no, you feel good because you're taking the medication. Don't stop taking it. So that's what I think about it. Thanks, Nicole, for chiming in. And anybody else in the chat, check in. Let me know what you think about this whole situation because it's sad. And I was hesitant about coming on here. If you're tuning in, make sure you hit the like button so that it shares it with the YouTube algorithm. But I was hesitant to come on here even to share about it because I didn't want to seem like I'm disparaging her name, right? But this is out here and I want to talk about it because a lot of times mental health issues are not talked about. They're pushed under the bed and they're like, oh, don't talk about it. It's real. It affects everybody. I'm an attorney. She's an attorney. That could be me. Like, I don't know what caused her to have the diagnosis in 2019, but who's to say that it can happen to anybody, right? So, excuse me, I decided to come on here and talk about it. Black Rain says in her boyfriend's police interview, he indicated she stopped taking her medication because she wanted to get pregnant. Oh, okay. So thank you for shedding light on that. So sometimes I guess the medications interfere with your ability to get pregnant, right? That's interesting. That's interesting. Thank you for chiming in, Black Rain, to bring some context to it, because it's like, okay, I want to have kids, but also like to think about your ability to take care of kids. And I don't know. That's a lot. What do you guys think about that? Like when you have mental health issues and then I don't know if they're genetic, and passing that down and being there for your children, knowing that you could pass down certain things to them and trying to be able to meet their needs. What do you guys think about that, right? Like, not to say that people with mental health issues shouldn't have children, but how do you take care of yourself and take care of another person if you're going through a crisis, a psychotic break, right? Tracy, hey Tracy, mental health really needs to be addressed. People feel like they can't prioritize mental health, which is so sad. Yeah, it's just like, oh, we got stuff to do. But listen, things are always going to be there. Prioritizing your mental health is absolutely important. So I'm glad that I decided to come on here and talk about mental health. Thank you, Nicole. Definitely worth talking about. So I'm glad I decided to come on here. Thank you, Black Rain. Thank you, Dr. Seb, for chiming in about it. So I think if it was nothing else, she found love and wasn't thinking rationally. Maybe, yeah, love is blind, right? Love is blind. And she looks pretty much let me go back to her little Instagram. She looked like she was in love in these pictures. And I mean, I don't even know. She looked like a whole nother person, but in the pictures that she has on here, she, won't let me go any further. She looked like she was in love. So, I don't know if the person helps or didn't help, because sometimes if you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't know they have mental health issues, you could sometimes be exacerbating it. Like I said, when Nicole mentioned before, like people don't know about mental health. I don't either. And I can only direct somebody to somebody who does know about it. Like I can recognize like something's not right. Maybe you should talk to somebody, and not in a way that is negative, because I talk to a therapist and I'm like, for whatever reason, I need to talk to you. You may need to talk to somebody else to maybe get some help. It wouldn't be great to know, like, oh, I'm not losing my mind. There's some kind of chemical imbalance. Like, wouldn't it be great for somebody to tell you that versus you feeling like, I don't know what's going on with me. Something's wrong. Something may not be wrong, or something may be chemically wrong that needs a little bit of help. What's wrong with getting some help from somebody, right? Professionally, having some medicine to balance you out, and not to feel like, oh, I gave in. I know sometimes in other communities, they like, you don't need it, just pray it away. Sometimes God sends you wisdom to take medication to help you out, right? And praying for wisdom to take the medication that could help you. So don't get on my soapbox about that. But I think that's not my attorney opinion. That's my personal opinion about medications and why some people need them. Some people may be able to work through it without medication, but some people need them, right, to help. So let's see. She had trauma. She had trauma, didn't explain. That's her. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Nicole. Yes, I'm. Thank you for tuning in. I think it was important to have this conversation, and I hope anybody. I mentioned in this. I put in the description box, but BetterHelp is access to online licensed therapists. But if you need something stronger, Psychiatrist will be the one that can actually prescribe medication for you. And if you feel like you may need it to balance something out, talk to somebody. Let them be the decider of that. If you have family and friends that are going to be your support system, listen to them. You know, most people are, love you and want to help you out, and not just to like point a finger at you. I know for the longest it was seen as like a taboo, but people are more freely talking about it. And I'm glad they are. It's not taboo. Everybody has something they may need help with, and that may be your thing. So if it's nothing else, thank you guys for tuning in. TAC tells all crew, any new people that are tuning in, consider subscribing to the channel. We have all kinds of things on our channel, pre-law, law school and beyond, personal finance, get personal. We do reactions to videos, travel vlogs. So if you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe so you can see everything else. And we're going to be posting another video shortly. So make sure you hit that notification bell. So if there's nothing else, I will see you in the next video. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everybody that came in.